some of our community members.
Yeah, and with that, we are set to go now. Of course, it's a standard matchup, so we will be starting at Link's house and going through the escape sequence.
Yep, and while the contents of this first chest are naturally randomized, when we get down to the uncle, we will find a weapon. Hopefully it is the bow, so that we can use those silver arrows.
Yeah, silver arrows is a really nice find there. Looks like we've got a set of crystals here in the light world on those map checks. EP and Hera were both red.
Yeah, that could make for a very early pyramid.
Oh, and look at that, a bow. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh my!
A bow. To go with those silver arrows, getting that incredibly strong weapon, is going to make things go nice and quick for our players early on.
You'll love to see that.
And a bottle here with the bee, just for extra hilariousness early on, but activating Sick Kid right away is kind of a nice thing. We won't have to revisit Kakariko Village early at a later point.
Yeah, and of course that bee is always good if you want to, say, bully one of Blind's heads for whatever reason.
Yeah, and if you don't find another weapon before, it's really effective in the mini Moldorm cave. Some other early checks that might make things a little easier to save your arrow ammunition.
Although there are naturally plenty of arrow drops around the world, so like one right there. So I think our runners will probably be okay on their supply.
Oh, P-Train taking an unfortunate fall there, having to reset this room. I'm gonna look. Oh, stopping to pick up that full magic potion could be very beneficial later on.
Yeah, you don't really get any reliable magic fills until you start clearing out dungeons and getting those full refills every time. Unless our runners know where to look. And yes, each of our runners have gotten at least one bomb drop, so they will all be set for the back part of escape as well. And you see the power of those silvers on Stogie, just one shot what is supposed to be a mini boss.
And a sword pickup here from Zelda's chest means that we are equipped with both melee and ranged weaponry for the entirety of this run.
It also means that Zelda could have just, like, fought her way out. She had a sword right there. Although I guess, like, they can be kind of heavy and hard to use, so okay, fair.
She just wasn't feeling it. She didn't feel like opening up that chest. You know, sometimes...
That's fair. And so from here, it's just to run through the sewers underneath Hyrule Castle. Our runners don't have the lamp currently, but in standard mode, that doesn't actually matter for now. We won't have to deal with dark rooms until we get through the opening sequence, and then you need a lamp for those dark rooms to not be dark.
Yeah, the randomizer does give them the light cone for free in this escape sequence. And all four of our runners pretty close to one another. Stogie's just a couple of seconds ahead. And P-Train just a little bit behind, but managed to catch up even after that early fall down in the dungeon.
Yeah, with standard mode, your first couple of minutes are basically pure execution. It's after we get out of the sanctuary that we start seeing how our routing decisions are going to come into play.
Now, we will have a little bit slightly slower exit just because they are all going to be able to check the bomb rooms. Just adds a few seconds, but with those 3 checks, it's absolutely worth it.
Yep, otherwise you're pretty much waiting until you get the power glove to come back here, and if there's something important, then you wish you didn't wait. Unfortunately, the best thing we get is blue mail, which is nice, but not as useful.
I don't know, we might need that bug net for AGA 1. Just for fun.
I mean, we got a bottle. We can catch fairies.
That's true.
For all we know, this could be a health-starved seed for a little while.
Absolutely. 555 to get out of the sanctuary is pretty nice, and a moon pearl giving us dark world safety. At least we'll be able to function in the dark once we can get there.
It's a good reward for rescuing the princess, I'd say.
Yeah, we have a small divergence here with Hitzian deciding to go back to Link's house. P-Train taking the more standard path towards Kakariko Village, and Stogie looks like setting up.
Yeah, that looks like
here.
That's a Houlihan for sure. That'll get Stogie a solid 225 rupees for free.
We see a few bombs up here in the mushroom section. And a little more piece of heart in the band.
Hitzion, meanwhile, doing the 50-50 bush farming to get their bombs.
We'll get a peek here. The maze game is a sword upgrade, so I'm expecting that, yeah, Hitzion is going to go for that, switching to bombs now before heading back up and around.
Oh, now I'm gonna hold it off on a little bit.
Power glove.
Ooh.
So we are going to have some boots some point soon, and another glove there in the dam.
So no, those gloves in the library are now going to be the Titan's bits, with those being a progressive item.
But both lift upgrades being available, or at least knowledgeable to the players early on, is very.
Yeah, at this point we need just a hammer or the boots, like Durin just found.
Just found those.
This is a no AGA seed.
This seed is shaping up to be relatively quick too. Just the ability to dash at this early stage. Both lift upgrades available for our players early on. Master Sword and Silver Arrows already. There's not much more they can ask for.
No, this does pretty much open up the entire world. I think logically it still doesn't open up Palace of Darkness area, but we're very close to that.
Also, we should keep in mind that because they have the bow and finding the lamp, does mean Eastern Palace is completely in logic. There's another sword upgrade down in the well, sword. And half mount.
And 300 rupees. Is this easy mode? Did we set it on easy? Are we giving our runners a nice, relaxing Friday jaunt?
Sick Kid has a few bombs. I'm not sure what kind of activities he's been up to at middle school.
I'm gonna guess the sickness has to do with breathing in a little bit too much fumes, a little bit too much gunpowder. It's a hazardous area.
And we'll get a look here at the mini Moldorm cave now. magic powder, another piece of heart, 50 more rupees, and there's our first medallion. Ether. Durand is electing to take those boots and pick up that power glove, not realizing that Titan's Mitt will now be in the dam for him.
But hey, you're gonna need them. Might as well grab them. And yeah, that's gonna be tempered if Duran bothers with the race game, which it looks like a yes.
At an early time like this in the game, getting that extra sword damage is just gonna be a multiplying effect in how fast you can get through certain bosses and parts of the world. So, an easy choice to pick, I think.
But it is like I was saying earlier, with all of these interesting and high quality drops, everyone except P-Train is still on 3 hearts.
Yeah, the amount of hearts that you usually find a lot of pieces of heart, and that makes you feel healthy, but at the same time, with this much offensive and defensive capabilities, yeah, don't think you'll be too upset. We're going to get a check from Durand at the shovel spot now. We haven't seen that yet.
Just 50 rupees. I think P-Train is going to be the first to head over to Eastern, go visit Sahasrara, and probably go and take care of some, if not all, of the dungeon. They didn't pick up the lamp, as far as I see on the tracker, but you can do those dark rooms if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and it's almost, you know, you'll be kicking yourself a little bit when you do get to see that you could have had that at an earlier stage, but I'm sure P-Train will be fine with it.
So we have a green pendant at T-Rock.
Oh, Stoga choosing to show off that B in order to get some extra rupees out of the bottle bin.
So yes, this does mean of the 2 most trolly and difficult items, the ice rod and the silver arrows, we have one of them and we might not even need the other.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The Turtle Rock pendant really does blow this seed open now. Provided we find either the Fire Rod or Bombos. In case we need to enter Ice Palace.
Yeah, again, like, we have that Ether medallion, and it's always nice to have a medallion, but until we get to Meyer or T-Rock and have some idea about do we even need to go in there, that could be completely useless.
Mm-hmm. But as it stands now, we have we have access to quite a few dungeons. And with that, we'll be able to start just clearing those. The players will be clearing those out in order to find a lot more opportunities to pick up some of those useful, important items. So Hitsuyan's gonna go ahead water walk, show us that there's a rupee up there on Lake Hylia Island. And we'll get our first look at what's going on over here in the waterfall area.
Yeah, skipping the hobo for now. Not the biggest deal when you're sequence breaking like this, but that is going to be one little location left off to the side.
Interesting choice to go for it with only the 456 rupees. Is not able to go back to follow Zora all the way to its natural conclusion. They're going to have to make a slight... And a boomerang here in Eastern Palace. So our other two, oh my goodness, Swamp, the Skull Woods is dependent.
Skullwoods and Swamp.
And Swamp as a pendant means we may not... Oh, we will need flippers for access to Ice Palace by logic.
We will logically need them, yes. But as we just saw Hitsuyan do with the Water Walk, runners can fake flipper. They might not end up having them.
And as a result, we're seeing another divergence here. Some Skull Woods dungeon. Well, P-Train is continuing through Eastern Palace. I like this decision, actually, to go through Skull Woods first. Eastern Palace is great early dungeon to go through, but since we don't have access to Desert or to Dark Palace, I think that's the logic behind these two players choosing to not head that way at this junction.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. Your only concern would be if there is some progression in Eastern and you're just putting yourself off of something that you are going to need.
And we now know that looks like Mushroom was found up that way along with the Red Boot. So perhaps not anything absolutely required, but potentially very powerful and useful.
Yeah, Boomerang, or the Mushroom rather, was just sitting in Sahasrarla's closet. A few questions about the cleanliness of that place, but we won't go into that.
Duran's going to set up a bomb jump here to check out that big chest.
Not exactly worth it, though. In chat, already going down the guessing game of what could possibly be on pedestal with this arrangement of crystals and pendants, and yeah, there's not very much.
Yeah, it would be, it could be the start of a long chain of things. It could be something like the book that you would need to open up one of the tablets to get an item that would lead to something that was partially useful, but it's very unlikely to be anything of value at this point, I think. And of course, we are still looking for that magic mirror because that's going to have a dramatic impact on what is and is not accessible logically.
Absolutely, and we are still looking for that hammer. Like I mentioned, until we find either flippers or that hammer, getting over to the Palace of Darkness is technically not possible.
But we'll get a look here at the C-shaped house on Duran's. That's another piece of heart. Still, 4 or 5 hearts is where it's at for our players. But with blue armor, that's going to make a lot of the dungeons relatively manageable.
Yep, and Hitsuyan hit one of the hint tiles in Eastern. Unfortunately, I was looking away, didn't see what it said. That was a Kana Samaria in the chess game. Stogie, not that happy with it, but you have it, so...
Yeah, but it can be a useful item to find. It's just not exactly what you're looking for right at this moment. Especially since we don't technically need it till the end.
True, we only need it for Meyer. As far as we know, we only need it for Meyer.
P-Train finally checking out Kakariko Village, getting half magic and his final sword upgrade.
just so surprising to put off, what, 12 item checks, 13 with that bottle?
Yeah, it's gonna feel really bad when you pick up the boots here and think to yourself, "Oh my goodness, I could have been dashing and running this whole time." Oh, we're getting a froggy check here on Stogie's screen. Gonna take him on a world tour.
Go down, pass by Ol Stumpy, and then stop off at the Hype Cave. Ol Stumpy with the lone arrow.
Yeah, that's an artisanal arrow, the finest crafted arrow in the land.
Absolutely magnificent handiwork. It is truly a unique item. And literally, the hint system considers that a unique item.
All right, Hype Cave. Our first look at this.
Roll.
Well, a full heart container is kind of nice to find.
There's Bombos.
And the
hammer.
Well, Bombos and the hammer does give us a lot more access to certain areas in the world, including Ice Palace now. We'll be able to at least get in once we have some... Unless we feel like playing fast and loose with the rules.
Like Hitsuyan's doing right now with that fake flipper.
Mm-hmm. Of course, fake flipping is perfectly legitimate tactic here.
Certainly, we allow various minor glitches like that. They do count as sequence breaks. The logic never expects you to do them. And if you're not careful, you can end up tricking yourself in the logic of the progression if you're not paying enough attention.
Yeah, we're going to look here at Bonk Rocks over on Stogie's screen, rather, and finding here another piece of heart. Thieves Town, unfortunately, has been a bust for Durand, item-wise, so far.
Yeah, on the plus side, it's a crystal, so gonna have to do it anyway.
Yeah. The only downside to doing it at this point is if the final chest big chest is required or has an important item, it does not have the hammer and is not going to. So, will potentially trip him up in the event that is a vital item.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't item counting to see if they have any dungeon items remaining that would be on blind.
Did pick up a piece of heart, or a full heart container there, so that was at least one more, but was not able to count completely. Durand's on their way to their first crystal in the form of blind. P-Train taking another death here. Wasn't seeing what got him. Oh, death in Skullwoods, yeah.
And that was a compass on blind. So there might still be something in the dungeon.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've seen an item check to see if he has all 3 dungeon items.
Well, either way, that's gonna have to wait till later.
Yeah,
Stogie,
indeed.
I was gonna say, Stogie, though, in the dungeon does have the hammer, so if there's anything there, they are more likely to find out.
Yeah, we will know soon enough. We get some dig game now. Let's see how many digs we have before we get our...
4s. Nice and fast today. And I think Hitsuyan's check is the first look at Agina.
I believe we actually had one of the players make it very early on. I can't remember who.
Well, it's only a piece of heart, so can't blame anyone for forgetting.
And at this point, Durant's probably going to swing by Hype Cave, pick up that hammer, and be like, oh, poop. I wish that I'd done this first.
But without Jeremiah tailing behind, it's a decent time to go up to Pod to start taking care of that.
Mm-hmm. Lots of chests there, lots of items potentially pick up in that dungeon. And at this point, it's a decent enough prospect for finding something like the mirror, which would make it very efficient time-wise.
I've also realized that we've had access to Death Mountain for a good amount of time, and nobody's gone.
Yeah, and oftentimes when you're in this situation, you kind of want to save it for the very end if at all possible, because then you can go right into Tower of Hera, leave it, and enter Ganon's Tower. So that might be the thought process behind that these runners are making right now.
Oh, certainly, but it is also a good amount of item locations, so if they start running out of options, that's probably where they're going to head sooner than later.
Absolutely. So the tip here in Thieves Town is that there's a piece of heart in the Thieves purple chest. And without the hook shot, providing incentive to head over to Death Mountain in the dark side, dark world, I can see why they might be trying to hold off as long as possible.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable. And we find that Pod was bow-locked, as though that was going to be a problem on this seed.
Yeah, when I play and get an early bow, I know I'm always in for a good seed, a seed that I have a lot of fun.
The pyramid just has a bottle and some bombs, so we're not going to bother with that.
Yeah, another reason to de-incentivize heading up the Tower of Hera where the red, one of those red crystals.
Stogie doing some nice mixed martial arts, if you will, using the sword and the cane to take it down Blind. Blind is only vulnerable to a handful of weapons, but all of them are 3 hits per phase, no matter what.
Now, I didn't see what was picked up in the hammer chest in Blind's Hut, in Thieves Town, but I can tell you that Stogie did get it, as he has no keys.
Yeah, it was just a map. And I guess, Blind is in charge of Thieves Town, presumably, and what is a town but a collection of huts?
Sure.
Let's go with that. Just a big old 20 on the hammer pegs. And of course, the downside with Pod, it does have a lot of chests, it does have a lot of items, it also has a lot of keys. And one of those items today is going to be the Cane of Burna. Stogie going into the fortune teller as though this were the crossover with Super Metroid. It's not.
It definitely is not.
Where does that one even take him? Is that Norfair? I don't actually play that one.
That's one I've never been a great Super Metroid player, so just wasn't my game.
Oh, it takes it to criteria. I'm getting actual answers from chat. Thank you. I should say more stupid nonsense when commentating. Get actual information.
You never know when you find something, learn something new. And here, 30 minutes in, Stogie finally checking their mini Moldorm cave again. This seed has just forced some very open route selection paths. And there's the fire rod here in Palace of Darkness.
Well, that's a nice find. Even with Skullwoods and Turtle Rock both being pendants, and we have Bombo, so we don't need it for Ice Palace. But still, hey, fire rod.
Yeah, Duran's intentionally taking some damage, finding the flippers to get into Ice Palace now. Here in the maze, looked like he was taking some damage on purpose to set up a death warp.
Yep, no mirror means getting out of here is kind of annoying. Stogie taking some upgrades from the ferry.
And Stogie now going to head into Ice Palace. Going to have to use the bombos to fully access the dungeon. That is of no problem.
We have, excuse me, we have red mail over in Paradox Cave. So no, runners usually don't really bother to grab the red mail when they can avoid it. Depending on when they actually head up to Death Mountain, they might just end up stumbling into it.
P-Train now gonna head into the Palace of Darkness, miraculously transforming a frog into a monkey in the process.
I guess they didn't return Jeremiah, so they'll have to go and pick him up again.
Oh, Chad bringing up the hilariousness that would be Vanilla Mirror.
I mean, that's available.
Even at this point, a French vanilla, i.e. something very close to vanilla, would be very interesting too.
Yeah, I guess we would count anywhere on Death Mountain as being French vanilla for the mirror, I guess.
Yeah, I think I usually do, at least on the west side of Death Mountain.
Yeah, I think I can go with that. Duran showing off the quick kill on Helmasaur. Those silvers do their damage. Just some cash, but the crystal is probably more important.
Now, Palace of Darkness did turn out to be pretty nice, though, with both the Fire Rod and the Flippers. So both P-Train and Duran are going to feel really happy to have taken this trip.
Meanwhile, Stogie is giving us a bit more of Ice Palace. Nothing interesting as yet.
Grabs the big key there.
Yeah, I didn't see if they set up the bomb jump or not. I believe they didn't. So that big key actually will be necessary. If you do that jump, then all of a sudden keys are a fantasy. You don't need almost any. And we have Durand going and taking care of Eastern. Hitzion making the move over to Hype Cave, about to get the hammer.
Yep, just 3 bombs there in the big chest in Ice Palace. Ice tea room now. Final check is just the compass. Stogie's clearly after something here in Ice Palace and has been showing displeasure in the various items that he's been collecting.
Yeah, might be in want of the hook shot.
Mm-hmm.
Or the flute or the mirror. Would naturally know that the flippers can't be in here, but there are still other valuable and essential items that we don't know where they are yet.
And we'll get our cold stare fight out of the way on Stogie's screen.
Yep, with Bombos and a Tempered Sword, not that hard to deal with.
Oh, gets a good corner lock there, but does get knocked by an ice cube. A full heart container for a reward. Not what you want, but certainly nothing to laugh at when you're still at only 7, now 8 hearts.
Yep, and that puts Stogie at 2 crystals, tying it up with our other featured runners.
Yeah, and we are currently in, and out. This often happens when facing a seed where you get a lot of goodies early on. A moment where you spend a lot of time going through all the various dungeons, not finding anything of incredible value. But they're all required dungeons for completing the game, so of course the runners are happy to make their way through them.
Yeah, you end up doing a little bit of gamble as far as which dungeons are going to actually have the progression items, which is, you know, what makes Palace of Darkness such a good play, is a lot of item locations, because you are hoping to end up go-moding as many of the dungeons as you can.
Absolutely. Ice Palace there had absolutely nothing needed, so could have technically been one.
So Durin taking the lead on the crystal count by taking out Helmosaur. See where they decide to head next. Might be time for an Ice Palace play. They do have the flippers, so they would be correctly equipped for it.
Yep, that is clearly a possibility. Looks like what we're going to see, actually.
Yeah, but first all of
Swing by
these
Zora.
water checks. Yeah, Zora, Hobo.
I don't believe P-Train has done the... Have they done the witch check, the mushroom check yet? No.
No, looks like they're doing it now.
Brand's gonna finally show us what's hanging out under the bridge. Mushroom, of course, was just 20 rupees. We've already seen that. Underneath the bridge, though, we find 20 more rupees. So really now Durand it makes absolute logical sense to go to Ice Palace. It isn't going to provide anything of value other than the crystal, the sage crystal.
It does actually, it leaves me thinking that we do need to go up to Death Mountain pretty soon, so we are pretty low on other opportunities.
I agree, absolutely. It's really going to be which one of these players decides to head that way first. P-Train, of course, also entering Ice Palace now, so it's between Stogie and Hitsuyan. Stogie Town is likely to head that way on account of they don't have Ice Palace.
Yeah, but they also haven't finished Pod, so with this positioning, there's a good chance they'll go down to the warp directly below Eastern Palace, take care of that nice and quick.
That's absolutely true, yep. But Hitsuyan, on the other hand, now having the flippers after completing Pod, is likely to go to Ice Palace. It will be curious to see which one decides to do that next.
Oh right, Stogie never even visited Sahasrarla.
Mimic Cave just has another shield upgrade. We're learning that now in Ice Palace.
Yep, definitely going to be avoided by our runners. They generally don't want to get the mirror shield. Plus, you know, that's in Turtle Rock for all intents and purposes, and we don't actually need to do Turtle Rock, so yada yada.
Unless we end up with a pedestal flute.
Yeah, or a green pendant flute.
That's true too, yes.
Ooh, P-Train trying to give us the hover. Trying to do the Ice Palace bomb jump without the bomb or the jump.
Durand instead electing to take the safer, easier bomb. And of course, you were absolutely correct. Stogie is going to go do Dark Palace, Palace of Darkness rather, and then see that flippers were available there. Now, another interesting thing that we haven't found yet is the Ice Rod. Ice Rod find would be, even though we don't necessarily want to go to Turtle Rock, logically opens up Turtle Rocks to completion for an item which would incentivize it a bit more.
Yeah, when you have a crystal on Turtle Rock, you're really hoping to see the Ice Rod, and when you have a pendant there, you're really hoping not to, because that's the only time you need it. And if you can get through a full run without an ice rod, then hey, that means you didn't have to bother with Trinex, you didn't have to go all the way through T-Rock. It's a nice sign.
So Hitsian now completing the Palace of Darkness. Let's see if they decide to go for Ice Palace or if they want to save Ice Palace for near the end.
Or if they want to hard reset.
Yep.
Duran's setting up the much trickier second bomb jump in Ice Palace that lets you skip this room without the hook shot. Very tricky to position though, and those jellies will mess you up.
Yeah, they are not cooperating right now. And one has to wonder if... Oh, there's an opportunity.
Oh, and a miss. Now this is a bit of a commitment because, you know, that door locked behind you. So it's get it right or death warp back to the beginning. And Duran gets it right.
Dogi showing off his hammer skills here on Almasar.
Yep, very straightforward fight with the equipment that they've got. You can do that first phase with bombs if you have a lot of them, but our runners basically never do.
We are noticing as well, Durand has to be very careful with his health at this point. Only 2 hearts right now and no safe. He's going to have to switch items to the cane there to get past those spikes. Be real careful.
P-Train, meanwhile, taking on the Cold Stare fight, doesn't have to be as careful. Gets a decent amount of corner lock and cleans up the last puffs.
Indeed, this actually puts them ahead at this point of Duran now, of our featured run.
Yep, Stogie did take care of Helmasaur, but didn't clean out all the chests, so they're taking the dip back in.
Well, it could be that P-Train may be our first person to head up to Death Mountain.
Well, they are going to go check the King's Tomb first, looks like.
Yeah, I believe we've seen this already. Wasn't anything to write home about.
Nope, just Big 20.
Durand unfortunately losing the collection on those puffs, but pulls out that fire rod with half magic in order to finish them off relatively easily.
And yep, P-Train is making the move up the mountain.
At this point, it seems to be very
Or-
likely. Well, going to check Aga Cave just to see, Lumberjack Cave, to see if Aga 1 is required.
The lumberjacks aren't on the mountain.
But seeing 10 arrows back there lets us know that Aga 1 is not a necessary thing. Oh, not going for the mountain yet.
Did they perhaps leave items in Skull Woods?
Well, they weren't able to kill Mothula. They didn't have the fire rod at the time,
Yeah.
so they didn't go and check that last chest. I believe they didn't find an item yet.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Did they find the mapping compass?
Durand is clearly going to check, so suggests that it is necessary.
A hook shot on the magic bat.
Oh, wow!
Well, there's the check.
And that is going to make it a lot more of a incentivized idea to head up to Death Mountain now.
Absolutely. That pretty much lets you clear the entire thing.
Mm-hmm. Outside of a couple mirror required things.
Yeah, but even then you can see...
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All of them.
The floating island. Or the spectacle rock.
Now, luckily for P-Train, since they left Jeremiah behind, they have to go back and do this all over again, which will put them right where the magic bat is.
Yeah, likely to get this hook shot. So the old man had some bombs.
Must be the sick kid's granddad.
Mm-hmm.
It's family tradition.
And Durand, since he's here, is choosing to go ahead and take out Mothula.
Yep, tempered sword, fire rod, no sweat.
And there's
And a
the
flute!
So it is a necessary kill because that is our way into, or one of the two necessary items we need to get into Misery Mire. So that's going to feel real good on Durand's part.
And you know what?
Grabbing that hook shot.
That keeps them in Kakariko and gives them a reason to go check Magic Bat and get the hook shot.
Well, I think that was a bottle on Stugie's screen. Yes, it was. Up on the floating island.
Gonna go ahead and at least open up the portal. Might do the T-Rock warp, having not yet done Hera, and not having a mirror.
Is going to choose to open it up since he's here. I don't believe he's going to go into Turtle Rock at all. But head over to Hookshot. He is going to go in. Alright, I guess I'm wrong about everything.
Yeah. At the very least, there's this hint tile, which is not very helpful.
Now that flute on Durand's side is going to be pretty nice. Opens up a few more locations.
Yeah, they're gonna go right off to Mire.
Yeah, and I like this play now, having found the flute, because that's the desert and, well, no desert yet, no mirror. But it is Misery Mire.
And we don't know anything about where the mirror might be, So for all we know, this will be a nice 2-in-1.
So Myershed didn't have anything of value, and it looks like we had Quake as our medallion there. I'm assuming since Duran did not continue on their way.
Well, there's Quake up in Hookshot Cave, so that's how you do it. Stogie dashing over to Ganon's tower. You don't have the mirror, but you can go and check Spike Cave. Hitsuyon making the same move. Hitsuyon up here without the hook shot. It did not go down to the magic bat.
But does have the cane, so...
Yeah, that cane makes this a logical play. For a heart container.
Wow, this mirror is getting a little tricky. It's a little concerning as to where we might find the mirror at this point.
Yeah, we know it can't be on Pedestal because of Swamp Palace, but that only narrows down one location. Oh, there it is. Never mind.
Oh. Death Mountain was the right play all along. Once you had the hook shot.
So I think we're actually in no mode. Yeah, at 57 minutes or so.
Yeah, the only wrench in the works here for the 4 players other than Durand is that flute on Mothula, as it is a one-off item in a non-crystal dungeon right now.
Yep, that is a little bit unfriendly. So,
especially considering they've already cleared the front half of Swamp or Skullwoods.
Yeah, there's going to be limited incentive to go over there. But Duran not finding the hook shot for a little while. We'll see if that balances out the difficult checks.
The benefit here for Durand is that he does have the flute and can get back up to Death Mountain relatively easily.
Yeah, although it doesn't really change the benefit compared to just save and quitting and coming back to the cave.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they can all do that, can't they? So both P-Train now just about finished with Tower of Hera, Stogie going to enter the tower.
And Duran making a kind of low health Spike Cave check.
Yeah, but with half magic and the cane, it is of no concern for him. Trolldorm struck pretty hard on P-Train, and he fell. Gonna go for round 2.
Bit of an oof, but if you're not dropping through the eye, it's not that bad.
Does find the key. And it looks like Durand is about to get his hookshot now. which is to open up the world for him now.
And Hitsuyon described it a few moments ago, so they will be doing the Death Mountain checks as well. Ooh, Stogie gets bumped.
So Duran's going to head back over, find himself the magic mirror, and be in a... Oh, and Quake. Hopefully. And be in go mode.
Quake might take a moment, but it'll be soon enough. Hitsuyon showing another bomb jump and executing cleanly.
Yeah, and it truly is going to be the difference between these other three players as to who gets Mothula dead first. Durand additionally is fully aware that he needs Quake.
Well, that is true. For our other runners, it'll just be a nice confidence boost that they now have all the medallions and whatever Meyer is, they're good to go. But only Durand knows the actual importance.
Ooh, he almost save and quitted there, but it looks like he had a second guessed himself there to his benefit. He doesn't know that yet, but we'll find out shortly.
And since we're just over the hour marks, our runners are making their runs through, well, predominantly Tower of Hera. We always like to remind folks, if you like seeing these runners, like seeing Randomizer done, always worth giving these folks a follow and checking them out outside of the races. And as always, a thanks to our trackers, Linkforce and CRU, for taking care of those little bits of logistics and making sure we all know what's going on.
Absolutely. So P-Train has elected to dip into Turtle Rock. This is an unfortunate choice for him. No way to know that this is not the right path to take. Is going to be disappointed in the results.
Yep, that is definitely a look for either the book or the flute. And you're not going to find one of those here. You're probably not going to find either one. Never mind.
Or the book. Now that's extra unfortunate because that's going to lead him into desert. And maybe to take a look-see at the pedestal, find that it is not necessary. Maybe he'll be in the Dark World and choose to go to Skullwoods just in case while doing that. As well, all of the tablet locations, the 2 tablet locations now open for P-Train. Gonna lead him down the wrong path. Stogie, on the other hand, though, is heading into Skullwoods and is going to have their go mode item.
Hitsion, nope, avoiding the T-Rock play, just checking the hint.
So Durand, will you find your Quake Medallion? Looks like he's heading back to Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, it's a very reasonable move. You have the ability to do the Dark Death Mountain, so you go do it.
Yeah. Stogie, though, throwing my prediction off and likely to be entering go mode at just slightly ahead in this case, as long as the Mothula fight goes well.
Durand not even bothering to open T-Rock. Probably making the assumption that Quake is going to be anywhere but there. Which is correct.
Now, I forgot that Durand Stogie does have to go activate this flute. So Durand will be now in go mode.
Yeah, and Shaq corrected me. The hint in Tower of Hera told Durand where Quake was, so kind of an easy guess.
Mm-hmm. So now Durand and Stogie gonna be in their cleanup phase. We'll see Misery Mire followed by the desert. Durand, though, does not have Ice Palace yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stogie does have a little bit of a lead there, but being able to go mode Ice Palace is of decent speed.
Mm-hmm. But I do believe that Stogie is securely in the lead by about 3 minutes. Ice Palace in go mode is about 3 minutes of your time, if executed correctly.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Hitsion has joined in the T-Rock dip.
Oh,
so this will be a red herring.
B-Train checking Laser Bridge, go on the distance here. And I'm just gonna feel so awful if he finds Ice Rod.
Ooh, yeah, that would be brutal.
Although, for him, Ice Rod would lead him to thinking, oh, I do have to this might be a pedestal seed, so it might trigger him to head to Skullwoods right away. Nope, didn't find it, so he's gonna head out. Oh, Durand finding the big key really early on here in Misery Mire. I just noticed that, so that's fast Misery Mire for everyone.
Everyone's favorite Speedy Mire.
Yep, go mode Mire when you find the big key in that first chest. Is nice and quick.
Oh, we're being corrected. Durand did do Ice Palace. So I guess everyone did Ice. It is easy to forget when you have 4 runners all doing the same boss fight.
And here, as predicted, P-Train falling for this trap. Gonna check additional book locations. Stogie trying to go for a long hover.
Yeah, that's a meaty move.
Going for it a second time. How many times will you try? Just 2. 2 seems to be the right number of attempts. So that does mean that Durand is just a smidgen ahead here, by a few seconds. Execution in Ganon's Tower, and the Ganon's Tower big key location could be a tremendous impact on this, how this race turns out.
You know, I don't know our runners well enough to know if they have different preferences when it comes to routing the Gaines Tower basement, so I don't know if we'll see very similar runs or pretty much assured divergence. Yep, this will be a quick flip over to desert. Just need to grab a big key and take care of that.
Mm-hmm.
P-Train is going to make the move into desert, having picked up that book and checked both tablets to no avail. And unfortunately, desert is going to be no avail as well, because we have everything. There's not going to be anything we need.
Yeah, and that's just gonna hurt. Big key picked up by Duran there on the torch, so Lanmolas is next on his hit list.
Yeah, and with those silvers, it can be 3 quick snipes.
I'm not sure where... Stogie taking the shortcut here.
Oh. That's actually a smart move with the mirror. You can find the key, mirror right back out to the door you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a very efficient path here.
Once you're in go mode, it's those little optimizations and those little bits of execution that matter.
It is going to give him a couple of seconds catching up.
And we actually have all of our runners in desert. Although for Hitsuyan and P-Train, that's not the best news.
And excellent one cycle on Lanmolas there for Durand.
And that does make 7 crystals for Durand, so as always, we like to do a little bit of a guessing game with the Gaines Tower Big Key. There are 22 item locations where the big key could be. Feel free to get your guess in on chat. And the first person in chat to correctly guess the number will receive a sense of self-accomplishment.
Fabulous, fabulous prizes. An improved sense of self-worth. You know, in this day and age, that's a very powerful and meaningful thing.
Oh yeah, that's a tremendous cash value.
I'm gonna make my guess that we find it on the torch very early on.
You know, I like to go around 12 or 13, but this has been the kind of seed where, you know what, I'm gonna say 9.
It could also be tile room with the way that this seed started out. It could end with a tile.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him. Although it should be noted that while Randomizer does have a sense of logic, it does not have a baked-in sense of irony. That I know of.
That's coming in version 63, I think. It's quite a ways away.
Yeah, it's difficult to build. And with that, Durand opens up Ganon's tower. Coming in just over 1 hour, 15 minutes.
Hitsuyan, unfortunately, heading into the Swamp Palace.
Ooh.
Making the wrong choice for a pendant dungeon at this point. probably thinking to himself, I'll do this, then I will go to the Skullwoods and do the pedestal pull.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Durand choosing to head.
Durand making the right side play.
The right side play.
So in the case that Stogie takes the left side, again, we are basing the guessing game on Durand's side.
Oh,
Ooh.
All Master Troll, followed by just a bad situation there. Now, it's important that they picked up a green bottle here, and so running out of magic is not a worry for these players. We're going left side on Stogie's screen, so there are 3 bombs on the torch, so that's the not the third check.
No, that will probably be number 7 for Durand if the big key isn't over here. Ooh.
That's really unfortunate.
That's not the warp you wanted to do.
So that would be we're at a 4 count on Durand. And I think he's gonna go left here as the right thing to do. So 5 would be the torch. This counting is ridiculous.
This is totally messing up the cadence.
I we'll have to invent a new strategy for this one. This does mean that it's more likely that Stogie's now ahead. We don't know yet. Schrodinger's leader right now.
Yeah, if it is over on the right side, then Durand does technically have a small advantage. Anyway, that puts us at 9 chests. This will be number 10 for Durand.
Now, still no big key in front of Durand at this point, so while he doesn't know it, we certainly do.
Yeah, this key is at minimum number 16 at this point. And nope, just a small key in Bob's chest.
Wow.
And vanilla.
Vanilla big key. So Stogie pulls in the lead. A reversal of fortune, but that is how Ganon's Tower works.
Now the mystery here is, would Durand have gone all the way to Ice Armos with that right side check? Or would they have gotten the 2 chests and then called it a day?
Presumably, I would assume that that's how he would have gone for it, but... You know, and it's very interesting to see, like, Duranda's had a pretty good play all the way through. Hasn't made very many mistakes in choosing places to go. So that little failure there, having such a large impact.
Yes, we always say when you get a tight race. Wow, words. It could definitely come down to how you decide to route GT.
P-Train did make a hover there, according to chat.
Yeah, a little too focused on Ganon's tower to witness that myself, and for that I apologize to P-Train, because hovers are cool.
Oh, Hitsuyan, checking everywhere but where he needs to. Stogie gets excellent Silver Arrow 1 cycle on Land Molus 2. These are probably the most satisfying rooms in all of the game to play through. Trying to get these two rooms in a 1 cycle.
Yep, just a beautiful use of the Samaria. Just feels so good. Catfish offering up a little consolation love to Hitsuyan. No, the flute's not here, I'm afraid. Gotta go talk to the moth.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what he's left behind here on Death Mountain that he has access to at this point. Is it the basement chest in Hera?
Maybe?
I believe he did with the book go and look at the tablet.
Yeah, and thus looked at Spectacle Rock on the way.
So 3 bombs here in the final chest, and we are on to Aga 2.
Oh, Block got away from Duran just enough.
I was incorrect. Hitsuyan had not yet checked the tablet.
Stogie with the double. And just a single. And another single. Aga not playing as nice.
Yeah, this is really when the nerves start to affect you when you're playing in a race. Like, you're so close to the end, and you're just hoping to pull ahead.
Yep, and this is not just a race between these 4 runners, but these are community races, and we had a total of 33 entrants for tonight's race. We'll be discussing overall standings once we have at least one of the runners on our stream that have completed.
And this certainly was a seed that you could have done quickly. If you made all the right guesses. Trolldorm 2 goes down on Grand side as Ganon is being fought by Stoogie.
Hitsuya probably trying to go down that list, figure out what they forgot.
Yep. has
are in the right
decided to
neighborhood.
head to Skullwoods, though. Phase 3 is so far going pretty good. He's not bouncing too much.
And getting the torch glitch. Down to 4 hearts, but with a red potion and red mail, not really gonna be an issue.
Yep, and with that, Ganon goes down, and provided Shogi's able to navigate this incredibly treacherous bridge at the final to enter the final Triforce room, we should see him claim victory over these 4 players. And we laugh, but I have seen people fall on that bridge.
I've been the person who falls on that bridge. So Stogie does finish with an official time of 1 hour, 26 minutes, 33 seconds, giving them 2nd place overall in this race.
Fantastic.
Our 1st place finish was by Mono C, coming in with 1 hour, 20 minutes, 13 seconds.
A 6-minute time savings, fantastic race there too as well. Hitsuyan finally finding that flute. That's gonna just feel so tiresome for him.
And it looks like we have Stogie in the chat. Stogie, GG.
Hey, do I got static or am I clean?
Not your
Coming in
static.
clean to me.
Static? Yo, all I can say is GG to my boy Minochi. Coming in 1st place with that hot 120. Nano many lunches. GG, dude. Deserves a severe shout out, 'cause that's my boy. But, yo, that hook shot kind of screwed me up, because when I got the fire on, I already went in the Ice Palace, so that would have been my play after pod, and I was gonna do Moth, but then I got the hook shot, and it's like, one item? Or all of Death Mountain? That threw me off, but otherwise, this seed was great. Early boots, early everything.
Yeah, lots of early resources. We also have Durand just wrapping up, taking 3rd place with a 128.18.
I told everybody before the seed was generated, like the one I just played before this, I was like, yo, it was jet, like, and this seed definitely was a jet seed, like, 126? This is a great seed.
We just lost Crozone for a moment. Think he's back. We're gonna see if we can get Durand in. Have a little more chatter. It does look like Hitsuyan officially forfeited on the race. Can't really blame you after going through all of those locations. You kind of get frustrated.
Yeah, I think I was on the path to go Independence after I finished Death Mountain. It was going to be Skullwoods and Swamp Palace, and I was leaving Turtle Rock for last. So it was nice to follow up with that early and get that. But that hookshot definitely threw me off, because that was easy to play. If the hookshot wasn't there, I think the best play would have been going and finished in Skullwoods and then heading up to Death Mountain. But that hookshot just threw me off completely.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Durand didn't look at the magic bat for a little while and wound up getting the flute first. Hitsuyan and I think Petrine as well, meanwhile, did do the pendants and did them the opposite order. They did T-Rock, then Swamp, then Skull.
That's how version 30.4 is. Like, the early game and the mid game are pretty straightforward. But then it comes down to the late game, and it's a coin toss. Like, you could easily be in good shape, or you could best location. It's hit or miss, which is great, because it's really random and evens the playing field for everyone.
And as we have P-Train going up the gauntlet, we do have another finish, 1 up 40. It's taking 4th place, the 129.55. Rosa, can you hear me? Are you sorted out?
I have recovered there. I'm not sure what happened. I lost voice connection, but all other things were still working.
I think the answer to what happened is computers. But we can ask Durand what happened with their run. GG.
GG, thanks.
Yeah, we were just saying you were the first one of our featured runners to wind up with the flute, and that's because you weren't the first to wind up with the hook shots.
So, I got incredibly lucky on that. I went into Skull Woods, clearing the boss, and as I was headed up there, like, ah, crap, this is a pendant. Well, I'm here now, might as well finish it. Thank goodness I did.
Yeah, that wound up being the only pendant dungeon that anyone needed anything from. Unfortunately, P-Train and Hitsuyan took that dip into Turtle Rock, which had the book. That wound up being a bit of a red herring, unfortunately.
Yeah, this seed had a bunch of open locations. It was easy to get lost and go the wrong way. I got so lucky.
Yeah, I mean, getting such potent offense right out of the beginning, like, that does... If it doesn't open up parts of the world, it certainly makes what you have available feel pretty appealing and seamless. Like, getting those silvers first item, and then bow from your uncle.
Yeah, and I think for me, go mode was, well, I guess you call it no mode, but was when I saw the hint for Quake. After that, I don't think I needed anything else.
Yeah, that was your go mode. I think you and Stogie hit go mode at about the same time. You were actually pretty close in Ganon's tower, and I think that bonk off that beetle actually saved you time.
Yeah, I was really worried about that too. I was like, oh, well, just watch. It's gonna be in one of those 2 chests.
Oh yeah, of course we were wondering if you would have continued all the way to Armos Knights, having chosen right, had you not gotten stuck behind the teleport.
Yeah, my plan after that, if I didn't find anything behind Armos, I was gonna go back, get those 2 chests, and, well, you know,
Yeah.
best course of action there.
Was that was your plan? I'm guessing to do those 4 on the right side, then start off the left side.
Yeah, it's just I got caught in the portal halfway through checking the chests, so.
Well, hey, these things happen. You know, I've certainly made substantially worse flubs. Something as simple as bonking off a beetle is nothing really.
Actually, the scariest part of this run was ice. There was the bomb jump with the, I forget what they're called, jellyfish things. And I had 1 more heart to bomb over there. And then after that, I just have to suicide.
And they were not cooperating. They hung out down there in the corner for a long while on your screen.
Yeah, just wait them out. That's all you can do.
Ice Palace, though.
What was that?
Shot was not required for Ice Palace because you had the small key at the freezer room.
True. I just got it late and ended up going that direction. I still get kind of mixed up in Ice Palace. And even so, I don't think there was anything required in Ice anyway. I just wanted to get it clear it from my mind. Because I've had like 3 seeds in a row.
I went there immediately.
Yeah, you Stogie did Ice Palace before Flippers even, if I recall correctly.
Why not? I did it in the last race too.
I mean, I've certainly taken that approach on a few runs. Especially when Swamp is a pendant, you kind of end up hoping that you can avoid flippers altogether if you do it that way.
Yep, absolutely. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It worked at 2 p.m. Didn't work today. Ice Palace was 100% go modable, but that's random.
And with that moment, P-Train now has also completed the race.
Yep, and to catch up on the standings, we had Idiom in 5th place, with a time of 1 hour, 34 minutes, 26 seconds. Old Man Sunshine right behind with a 1:34:39. Frostbite 3030 in 7th with a 1:38:17. And P-Train tying Mac and X with a 1:35:51 for both of them.
Absolutely. And with that, P-Train has joined us in the channel. GG. Great race there, P-Train.
Appreciate it. I'm trying to figure out if Turtle Rock was a wrong play or not. Like, that's really like where I felt like I lost it, because not only did I dive Turtle Rock, but I found the book, which kind of lost me more time. But I felt like the alternative in my mind was Swamp, which was just as bad in this seed. So that's really like the big reflection I have on this race. Other than that, it was a really nice seed. I think I was I was in flute mode at like 45 minutes in or something like that.
Yeah, basically it all came down to which pendant dungeon you decided to take care of. And for Duran and Stogie, it was Skull Woods, which wound up being the right play.
Yeah, in hindsight, that probably was a good one. I should have known after I dove Ice Palace and found absolutely nothing. Actually, now that I think about it, that's probably my biggest regret from the seed, was trying to manage a 6-heart Ice Palace without a hook shot. But yeah, Skull Woods probably would have been my choice if I wasn't already on Death Mountain. But when I was on Death Mountain and I saw Ether, I was like, well, we got Ether like super early in the sea. I think Ether was in Mini Moldorm Cave.
I think
so. I was like, well, I'm going to check. I'm going to follow Ether. Because, I mean, we also had the Fire Rod. Ice Palace was a bust. So I was like, well, I got Ether, I got the Fire Rod, I got Canis Samaria, I got all this other stuff that, helps me out with Turtle Rock. So we're here, so why not? If I were anywhere else, I probably would have done Skull Woods first, though.
It could have went any way, though, dude. I mean, it could have been any of the 3 pendants. It was a complete coin toss.
Yeah, after doing Turtle Rock, my plan was to, because I was worried about the Zora area, because I felt like a lot of people did that early. So if there was something there, it was going to hurt me. So after clearing Turtle Rock and checking all of the book spots, because I had to, if you get the book diving a Bendit dungeon, like, you have to follow that book, because otherwise you give up on the gamble that you've taken. So after clearing desert and all that, my thought was do Graveyard Ledge to Catfish to the Zora area, and I thought, well, I have to use the Kakariko portal to do that anyways, so I might as well check Skull Woods while I'm there. And that ended up being Fluke, so that was go mode for me.
I leveraged that mirror too. I did K45 to Graveyard Ledge and then into Skull Woods.
Nice.
It's rando. Did you get any hovers this seed?
Yeah, I hovered. I always hover Spectacle Rock because I actually don't know the bomb jump, which is, I should probably learn it. But yeah, when I got the Meyer Big Key, I hovered that gap.
Nice. I also saw Hitzion taking a stab at a hover here and there. I don't remember if Stogie or Durand, I think both of you tried one?
I tried to hover Meyer, but I only did 2 tries.
I do not know how to hover. I wish
Same.
I did. But...
Dude, it hurts. It hurts my arm. Like, it took me, like, after the 2 o'clock, I think it took me, like, 19 minutes to get, like, 2 successful hovers, like, going past Moldorm. Like, it hurts your arm, man.
Yeah, I just can't get the rhythm, and I don't even think I have the right setup. I'm standing at my computer, so it's like I can't lay it on my knee. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the Meyer hover is like the freest hover because if you fall, it's just as fast. I mean, you waste the time that you try the hover, but if you fall, you're right back at the door anyway, so you just walk out and clear Meyer how you would regularly.
This is true.
So
One day I'm gonna do it. One day in the restream, I'm gonna get one successful hover. It's gonna happen.
No, but despite those 2 successful hovers, I think I fell at Moldorm too, like 3 or 4 times. So that was a wonderful feeling. I tried to hover it, then I killed Moldorm and realized it didn't have the hook shot out. So I was like, oh well, if I hover right here, I can save a menu. So then I fell after killing Moldorm. So that was a great feeling.
Oh, and then of course you have to kill him again.
Man.
Yeah. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it helps to put on a show for the crowd. Take those attempts.
No, all in all, this is a really good seed. I'm never a huge fan of coin flips like this. Like, after you clear all the crystals that you have access to, it's like, where do you go? I think this seed was a pretty hard seed to read, depending on. Well, I don't know. It's a hard seed to read for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you're on Death Mountain, Turtle Rock looks really good. If you're anywhere else, Skull Woods looks really good. If you're trying to do the Galaxy Brain, like, oh, I'm reading the seed, I mean, right back to back, you got, Flippers in Pod, then you got Hookshot from Powder Fairy, from the Magic Bat, then you got Mirror on Death Mountain. I think it's just as easy to say, oh no, I'm reading this seed like a book, I'm going straight to Swamp, so.
Yeah, nah, dude.
This was a tough seed.
Complete coin toss. I mean, you kind of had a feeling to go to Moth after the Fire Rod because Fire Rod didn't pay out in Ice Palace, but you still have the Light World to do, and you can do the Bats. You get the hook shot. It's like, I mean, there really was no rhyme or right reason to like route this the right way. It's pure luck.
Yeah, this also ended up, well, Moth aside, like, you didn't need the Fire Rod for anything else. Like, that was the only thing.
I was trying to read Fire Rod into Turtle Rock, which just didn't. Which I got booked, so I was hopeful for a second. I'm like, man, if Flute is in Desert, like I hit the jackpot. But Flute is a complete red herring.
Maybe I'm crazy and there's another way, but don't you need Fire Rod to get to Armos Knights? I think you might need it in GT.
No, you do not.
No, you can.
Oh, okay. There's
the lamp will reach across that gap.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you do need. The only thing you need Fire Rod is right side in GT. That's it.
Based on logic, it's just the right hand side. That's it. But technically, you can bomb jump that too. But that's just annoying.
Yeah. Well, and also that's not like logical. I
wanted to do Tile Room,
to do it, but like the logic doesn't account for that move.
I was definitely contemplating doing Tile Room, but then I see Mono finishes with 120. I'm like, there's no way this guy did Tile Room. I'm just sticking to my pad.
Yeah, that was an interesting metagame. I can't remember if I had Flute at that point, but whenever he finished, I was like, oh great, it's probably somewhere stupid like Waterfall Cave, and he got it through a fake flipper.
This scene was perfect for his type of playstyle. That's my duo partner for co-op. Like, we've played so many times together over the last, 3 years.
Alright, so just to give a quick update on all the standings that we have Big Dunka taking 10th with a 137.01. Hydropower with 11th, 137.13. Maximum Barnage taking a 137.20. Runespism with a 137.47. Plasma Kappa with 139.33. Salty Fry with 139.53. Aravind Dantes with 140.28. Dwayne taking the 140.35. And Aldera 9 with a 144.33. Oh, and D-Demolisher 144.08. Missed them. So we're having a large cluster of finishes around the 135, 137 mark. And we do have Hitsuyan taking on Ganon's tower. Even with the official forfeit, still going to see the seed out. So we are going to give them some time to enact revenge.
Anybody want to race inverted afterwards?
There's a certain silliness in racing inverted or running inverted, in my opinion.
It's so much fun.
If they would just, I know it's on, like I heard from Christos that it's on the roadmap to add the land bridge that's normally in the Dark World that connects the left side of Turtle Rock to the right side of Turtle Rock, the big chest room. It's on the roadmap to add that to the Light World. That's my understanding, that they're going to connect Spiral Cave
Really?
with Mimic Cave. Yeah, because Death Mountain sucks in inverted. I honestly, I love the mode. I think it's genius. I do enjoy running it, but I absolutely hate what it does to Turtle Rock. If they add that land bridge, that would, honestly, I would be just as up for an inverted as I would be an open understanding. I just hate
Death
Turtle Rock.
Mountain is the absolute worst around. No question.
Well, as far as I know, we don't have any inverted modes scheduled for our daily races just yet. It's always possible we'll see one in the near future. They like to mix up the modes, give everyone a chance to play their favorite style. I know we had a spoiler race earlier this week. I think there was a retro one. A lot of different formats, a lot of different options.
I guess I'll say my goodbyes, but thank you both for commentating. Thank you, trackers. Thank you for the restream. And if anybody wants to race inverted,
Yes, thank all of you for doing the runs and for volunteering to be on the restream. And just to look at what we have on the other speed gaming channels, right now we are doing the Zelda 1 randomizer tournament, I believe it is. The calendar doesn't have the full information. There'll be another one of those starting in about 8 minutes over on the main Speed Gaming channel. And on Speed Gaming 3 is a Super Metroid race. I'm sure one, if not both of those Zelda ones are the All Boards No Swords tournament. But again, the calendar I'm looking at doesn't say specifically, so I'm not going to pretend I know more than I do.
Absolutely. It looks like Hitsuyan, just for those still watching the race, has no silver arrows, so he's going silverless.
Yeah, must have dropped them somewhere along the way. It happens. It happens to the best of us. It's always nice for our featured runners to do a little showing off on some of the more advanced or difficult strats, just to show what Rando can do.
But did manage to take him down first try, so that's excellent.
Oh, apparently Hitsuyan rescinded the forfeit, which I didn't know you could do. And does come in with an official time of 1:49:30. That is a dot done in the chat, so learn something new every day.
Indeed.
See if he wants to throw a few words in as we are wrapping up. Hitsuyan, are you there?
Yes, hey. GG's.
GG. Then good work playing through what I'm sure was a considerable frustration.
Yeah, last location again, every time.
Yeah, the being trolled by the book there in Turtle Rock really must have, that led you down a path that is really frustrating, I can imagine.
I think the biggest problem was finding the hook shot before the flute. Because that led me to Death Mountain, and then I was only looking for the flute, and yeah, you are already there. Turtle Rock has a few items, then you go Swamp because there are 6 items instead of Morphula 1 item.
Yeah, P-Train did the same thing, found the hookshot before the flute, and wound up doing Turtle Rock just like you did. And I'm sure a number of our finishers with their times probably made the same move. It was a perfectly sensible one. I think of our group, Duran was the only one to find flute first, so they were lucky to avoid that wild goose chase, but it was a difficult kind of choice to have to make there.
Yeah, you do Morphula 1 item or Right Side Keg 3 items. For me was the choice clearly that I do Hammer Packs and the other stuff first. Because killing a boss needs longer time, and then you find the hookshot and you think you are on the right path, but you are not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit tilted in the run, so I forfeited one time. And yeah, I ended for the restream and for the viewers. Sorry, guys.
That was fantastic. Plus, we got to see you do the Silver List Ganon, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you for getting that frustrated. I've definitely abandoned seeds when they were just clearly not cooperating. But again, GG for seeing it through. And yeah, with that, I suppose it is about time to wrap everything up. Unless anyone has some last comments they want to add.
The regular things. Thanks for picking me up and for commentating, tracking, and all the stuff you do, guys. Thank you.
And as always, thank you for doing the race and volunteering to be on our restream in front of the audience.
Indeed, absolutely. I'd like to just thank everybody who participated, all the racers. Thanks for watching. Those of you who are viewing, feel free to throw a follow at the players who provided this entertainment for us today. Their links are all in the chat. As well, special thanks to Linkforce and Siriu for tracking today, keeping all those lights lit up on the sides and bottom of the screen. Without you, it's very difficult to follow all this action, so greatly appreciate that. And finally, from myself, Hubfan, thanks very much for commentating with me today. It was a lot of fun. It's my first time back in quite some time, and sorry for being a bit rusty, but I think I had a great day.
No worries, always a pleasure to have a great co-commentator. And with that, thank you all again for watching, and have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.